Ever feel like you're studying for hours, but the grades you get back just don't reflect the effort? It is so frustrating, and it's a super common problem. But what if I told you the solution isn't about studying harder, but about studying smarter? Well, today we are going to unpack 5 science-backed techniques that are going to completely change the way you learn. So let's kick things off by calling out one of the most popular study tools out there, the highlighter. Yeah, I'm talking about that neon friend on your desk. As psychology teacher Blake Harvard points out, dragging that thing across a page might feel like you're doing something productive, but it doesn't really involve much deep thinking. And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If highlighting is so ineffective, why is it the go-to for pretty much every student on the planet? Well, it turns out there's a really sneaky psychological trap at play. So let's dive into why our favorite study method might actually be sabotaging us. It all comes down to something called the illusion of mastery. Okay, think about it like this. There are basically 2 kinds of studying. On one side, you've got passive study. This is stuff like highlighting and just rereading your notes. It's low effort and it feels productive, but it just creates this false sense of knowing the material. Then you have active study. This is where the real learning happens. Things like testing yourself or explaining a concept out loud. It forces your brain to actually engage and build real, lasting connections. And listen, this isn't just my opinion. In a huge 2013 review of 10 different learning techniques, researchers gave highlighting the absolute lowest utility rating possible. The science is crystal clear. It's one of the least effective things you can do. It is time for an upgrade. So, what's the first major upgrade? Tip number 1 is a technique that researchers consistently say is one of the most powerful out there: active recall. You might also hear it called practice testing. The idea here is actually pretty simple, but it is so powerful. Instead of just trying to shove information into your brain by rereading it, active recall makes you pull information out. There's this concept called desirable difficulty, and it means that the mental struggle, that little bit of effort it takes to remember something, is exactly what strengthens the pathways in your brain and locks that info into your long-term memory. And you can start doing this right away. After you study something, close the book. No, seriously, physically close it. Then grab a blank piece of paper and write down everything you can remember. That act of pulling the information from your brain is the magic step. Then, of course, you open the book back up and check your work. Finding your own mistakes and filling in those gaps is an incredibly effective way to learn. Okay, so now you know how to actively recall information. Let's talk about when to do it for the biggest impact. This brings us to tip number 2, spaced repetition. This is the polar opposite of that all-night caffeine-fueled cram session we've all done. See, cramming just crams info into your short-term memory, and it disappears almost as fast. Spaced repetition, on the other hand, works with your brain. It interrupts what's called the forgetting curve by showing you the information again right before you're about to forget it. It's like telling your brain, hey, this is important, keep it. And the difference is just staggering. It's not even close. After just 1 week, the amount of info you hold onto using spaced practice is way, way higher than what you'd remember from cramming. You're basically hacking your brain's natural memory system instead of fighting against it. So we've got a killer technique and we know the right timing, but what about the structure of your study session? I mean, how do you actually stay focused? Our next 2 tips cover specific frameworks to help you do just that. Tip number 3 is time boxing. Think of this as your deep work weapon. You literally block out a chunk of time in your calendar, say 90 minutes, and you dedicate it to one and only one task. Then for other kinds of tasks, we have our 4th tip, the Pomodoro technique. This is all about short 25-minute sprints of intense focus followed by a 5-minute break. It's perfect for those smaller, repetitive tasks that are so easy to procrastinate on. The real key here is to match the method to the mission. If you're writing a huge research paper, time box it. If you're just trying to get through a stack of flashcards, Pomodoro is your best friend. All right, we've covered 4 powerful, distinct strategies. But the real magic happens, and this is our 5th and final tip, when you start weaving them all together into a killer study plan. So the big question is, what does this actually look like in a real week, day to day? Let's just map out a quick sample schedule. Check this out. It's a simple but super effective system. On Monday, you do a deep dive into new material with a 90-minute time box. On Tuesday, you use a quick 25-minute Pomodoro session with active recall to make sure that information sticks. You learn another chapter on Wednesday, and then on Friday, you use spaced repetition to review everything from the week. See how it all fits together like a puzzle? Every technique works together.
Look, highlighting and rereading, they feel safe, they feel familiar, but the science is in, and they are not what will get you to the next level. Your old study habits are holding you back. You now have a toolkit of proven strategies. So my question to you is, what new one are you going to try tonight?